It's time for the three takes.
No, that's getting cut. No.
Three takes.
This isn't Two and a Half Men. This isn't Two and a Half Men.
Three takes. Charlie Sheen's taking all of the drugs. Are there any drugs in this house? If there are, you're gonna find them and give them to me.
God, lead us in properly.
What an absolute goat. Anyway,
That was wonderful. That was wonderful. We're doing it.
Privyet, one and all. Privyet, and welcome to the final episode of the 2025 Oscars trilogy of the Three Takes of Stupidity. That was very difficult to say in Russian, that's why I said it in English. This week we're doing five-time Oscar winner, Anora. Nearly said Aurora, but they're in the sky. I'm joined by Chandler Monk,
Da.
James Robbins,
Hi.
and Alex Clinton. They both think I spoke Russian there. I didn't. That was gibberish. It's time to learn Russian. Nachi Nyum. That means let's go.
I don't have any Russian in my locker like Alex. He does a whole week's worth of Duolingo before these records, I promise. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to ask the boys what they've been up to. Alex, if you know what that is in Russian, please jump in.
What have you watched this week?
Perfect.
Anytime.
Absolutely perfect. So, Charlie, I'll start with you. What have you been up to? What have you watched? Done anything fun?
What have I've watched the final episode of Severance of season 2. Thought it was amazing, to be honest, actually.
I want to start Severance.
Season 2, as a whole, I found quite long. I just want to know what happens more than I'm enjoying the show. But I'm glad I stuck it out because the last episode was really fucking good, to be fair. I've caught up on Daredevil. I just watched episode 5, I think, of the new series, which was really good. The bank heist episode. I thought that was amazing.
No spoilers.
There's 2 came out, Chandler. 5 and 6.
Yeah, no,
came out.
I also have a life that I need to keep up with other things.
Yeah.
Episode 5 was...
So quickly on that.
Was amazing.
You say it's amazing. Episode 5 as a singular episode of television, I thought was great. However, in the context of the series, where at the end of episode 4 he gets spoilers, just in case, we have had a complaint. But Charlotte's spoiling it last week. When
the thing I spoiled happens in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Foggy dies.
Oh my God. He gets his cow back. He does that at the end of episode 4, and then all of a sudden at episode 5, it doesn't follow on from that. So it felt like one maybe pre the reshoot.
Don't care. It was a great episode of telly.
Yeah, it was great. But then episode 6 comes along, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, Chandler, but that doesn't lead on great.
Does he
from
die?
Episode... Oh my God, he does. Yeah, it doesn't lead on from episode 4 with him getting the cowl, because he's still battling with the idea of putting the cowl back on.
Are you saying cow?
Cowl.
Yeah, cowl, like the mask.
The mask.
All right. I thought you were saying cow, and he was like, he gets his cow back, and I was like, who stole his cow?
Moo.
Yeah. Then he was like, he's going to put the cow on. I was like, what?
Anyway, I also finished season 1 of Slow Horses. Me and my partner both really enjoyed that. And, my partner did something terrible to me over the weekend. Or truly awful.
Is it awful by your standards, but not maybe everyone's? If you
No.
I
genuinely think this is grounds for separation.
Oh,
So you know the series
annulment.
So you know this, or annulment. You know the series Adolescence on Netflix.
yes.
Yeah. Did she spoil it?
No. We had said we were going to watch it together, and then I've not seen a lot of my girlfriend over the past weekend because I was away with James actually at a friend's 30th, and then I worked pretty much the rest of the weekend. She watched it with her mum without me, all of it, and I think that's grounds for separation.
Really
when you
good.
promise, when you promise to watch something with your partner, that is a sacred vow.
Yeah.
Sacred bond. That's the word I was looking for.
Em did it to me with Rick and Morty.
Yeah, see? Grounds for separation, right? The funniest thing is I've not had a go at her because I'm going to wait for her to listen to this podcast.
I like it.
I stand with Charlotte. Oh, I am seated with Charlotte.
But yeah, that's it. That's all that's happened to me this week. What about you, Alex?
Lovely. I also watched Adolescence. I watched a lot of things, so we'll put these in a little table. I watched Adolescence. No spoilers. It's very good. The content's really good. The acting's phenomenal. Stephen Graham plays Stephen Graham, an angry Scouser.
Stephen Graham.
It's sort of the same. It's sort of the same guy every time, but he's still very good at it. I watched The Truman Show because it came on Sky Movies, and I caught it in the first 5 minutes and was like, I'm going to spend 2 hours of my life watching this, and it's honestly brilliant. I loved it. Caught up on a couple more episodes of The Morning Show. That's the Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon vehicle. Came out several years ago. It foretold the Philip Schofield story before Philip Schofield told the Philip Schofield story. And I watched... At first, this was a bit of a strange one, but then I watched the second one and really enjoyed it. I watched Scary Movie 1 and 2.
Oh, fantastic.
It's so good.
Why? Why did you watch Scary Movie 1 and 2?
Because I wanted to watch Scary Movie because it's Scary Movie. And then I was like, I wonder which one the second one is. And the second one's the guy with the hand that we'd probably look back on now as being disablist.
Take my strong hand.
Take my strong hand. No, give me the other hand. I can't.
No, the best bit from Scary Movie 2 is like the meme in the wild of what's his name? What's the guy in the glasses called? That's also in Arrested Development. David Cross. When David Cross is in the wheelchair and he like calls Tim Curry over and is like, "You got to come see this," and Tim Curry just comes over and goes, "What is it? Titties?"
He wanted to show him Anora.
I love Tim Curry.
James, what have you watched?
So yeah, episode 5 and 6 of Daredevil, which I've already touched on. Saw the end of the Ghostbusters reboot with Chris Hemsworth, a soft reboot with Melissa McCarthy and Chris Hemsworth. Emily had it on and I caught the end.
Rubbish, isn't it?
No spoilers,
It
no
looked
spoilers.
fine.
No spoilers, we don't want to know if they busted them or not.
They busted that ghost.
That film came out 9 years ago.
No spoilers, no spoilers.
The newer Ghostbusters with Paul Rudd, they're not bad actually, to be
Apparently
fair.
that's all right.
They're not bad. They're fun things to watch.
Is that with the kids from Stranger Things?
That is with the kid from Stranger Things, Finn Wolfhard. What a name.
He doesn't suit his name. His name's cool as fuck and he's a bit weeby.
Well, yeah, he's a child.
No, not anymore. He's about 25.
Is he?
With a name like James Robbins, you fit your name very, very well, dweeby.
Yeah, that's fine. No, I got my big red titties.
Augustus Julius Robbins, arise. Hi, guys.
My pick, Anora, felt like we had to do it because it was the big winner at the Oscars this year. It won, I believe, 5 Oscars. I know. It won 5 Oscars. It's Sean Baker's multiple winning films outside of the Oscars as well. Anora is an audacious, thrilling, and comedic variation on a modern-day Cinderella story. Mikey Madison as Annie, a young sex worker from Brooklyn whose life takes an unexpected turn when she meets and impulsively marries Vanya, the impetuous son of a Russian billionaire. However, when Vanya's parents catch wind of the union, they send their henchmen to annul the marriage, setting off a wild chase through the streets of New York, of which I thought kind of became a bit like The Hangover, funnily enough. But yeah.
The Hangover meets Pretty Woman.
Plus, hard-hitting cinema at the same time.
Yes.
So IMDb's got a 7.5. I feel like a lot of films and good films that have received a lot of acclaim are kind of leveling out around a 7.5 that we've reviewed recently. Whereas then Rotten Tomatoes, we got some hate for talking about Rotten Tomatoes on one of our TikToks.
Oh no, if only we gave a shit.
We don't care. And it's a solid place to get a critic review and an audience review, of which the critics rate it at 93%.
What did the person say we should be using? The W.H. Smith film review catalogue.
And it got an 84% on the Popcornometer from the audience. So yeah, highly rated, 5 Oscars. We had to do it. and compare it to our other films. What were your early thoughts going into this movie? Because I didn't know much about it originally. I described it last week as Pretty Woman but real.
All I sort of knew about it was about a sex worker, a stripper who gets like very quickly married to a Russian billionaire, and hijinks ensue. Is sort of what I knew about the film.
All you knew about it was the tagline?
Hijinks ensue. But my expectation was quite high, because obviously like it won 5, like it won like the big like load, like obviously like best picture, best director, best actress, best original screenplay, best film editor, and it got nominated for best supporting actor. So my expectation was high, as with like the other two that got nominated for multiple awards. But yeah, what about you, Alex?
I came to it with I had even less than you. I didn't even have the tagline. A complete unknown. Quickly go back to last week's episode if you missed it. It's very good. I had a look. I had a look at its IMDb page, and that's where my education began.
Yeah, I expected a far more serious film, especially when I hear Oscar winner. And this is something I alluded to off air, that I had to kind of move my mind a bit, because I don't know, when I see Oscar winner, I think serious movie, emotional roller coaster, probably ends sad. I think weirdly I find films that are emotional and sad tend to lean to quality, whereas this is on the surface a comedy and is quite funny. But then there's tragic undertones at all times.
Yeah, there are some real moments of genuine comedy in this film.
Yeah.
Like I think again, like in A Real Pain, which again has some real big comedic moments and real big laugh out loud moments. It's the same thing of like those are used at really smart points within the film of like just to relieve your tension and just give everyone watching like just a breath, just to go and just like relieve tension for a while, and then it builds back up, and then a good obviously moment happens again. But yeah, going into this film and watching like the first scene, I did not expect it to be that explicit, let's say. Even though I knew this film was about stripping and sex work and everything, I was like, again, as James probably said, I think 2 weeks ago, he was like, oh, this is going to be a nod to long-term fans of the Three Takes of Stupidity, but the titty counter was up there at the beginning of this film.
It's softcore porn. Most of the first 10 minutes of this film are probably on sites where you would normally find film clips. Let's say you're not gonna go on YouTube and find the first 10 minutes of this film.
The first things I wrote down about that opening 10 minutes is it's a strong start. There's lots of strippers. I didn't expect to hear Gary Barlow's voice this early on.
Yeah, The Greatest Day is such a weird song choice.
So we could touch on some of the Oscars here. For an early point at looking at best direction and best editing, take that over not one lap dance, but a montage of lap dances is quite incredible and not something I ever thought I'd see.
To be fair, those guys who are receiving the said lap dances are probably having the greatest day of their lives.
It would have been good if it changed to shine a light when they bent over.
The opening part here, with if we're looking at the best screenplay, is I think something in film which isn't depicted enough, and that is the reality of modern day sex work.
And speaking from experience, James Robbins.
Follow my OnlyFans.
Unemployment's hitting hard. Sorry.
Wow.
Those feet pics aren't going to sell themselves.
One take of tipidity.
That was terrible. Move on, James.
One take of pity.
That's better. Yeah. That's better.
I think normally it's depicted as the sex worker is, hates their life, down in the dumps, doing it because they have to, blah, blah. Whereas they treat it like any mundane job. They're interspersed cuts between our lead character, Annie, giving lap dances, then chatting with the other strippers about the creepy men that they've had to give lap dances to and are laughing. Then, apparently someone said they looked like their daughter, and then ordered 3 or 5 lap dances, which is horrendous.
I love that scene where she goes, I shared my playlist with the DJ and he was very dismissive. I was like, oh, yeah, that's everyone's been through that pain. Everyone understands that.
Yeah. And she's like walking around the club trying to, flirt and sell herself to give lap dances and go to the private room to make money. And it doesn't depict it at any point as sad. It just depicts it as matter of fact.
This
is
job.
Life.
Yeah.
That's her job. Yeah. And I don't think that's often shown.
Yeah.
It shows respect to the work, which people should.
Do we know generally how happy strippers are, though? Are they generally happy?
Not a clue. But here's a question I wanted to ask. Here's a question. So talking on that, James, here's a question that was going through my head that I did genuinely wanted to ask you two. What has been your 2 experiences of going to a strip club?
2. I've only got 1.
No, I meant you two, like both of you.
Yeah,
you two. I'll go first because Alex looks
Terrified.
absolutely terrified. I was in my second year of university, and I was on work experience in Amsterdam, working on a broadcast convention as a sound man and camera operator. And there's a lot of people were there as runners, researchers, and the work experience a lot. And we would go out, and we went out with our direct bosses, I guess line managers. So mine was the location camera operator, and for the other guys, it was like a logistics guy. And they were a bit older; they were in their mid-20s. We were all about 19, 20.
They're younger than
20
us
years
now.
old.
That's depressing.
Anyway, they might be.
They were so much older than us. They were mid-20s. Fuck!
Well, at the time, now they're in their mid-30s. So, we go out in Amsterdam, and then they decided to take us into a strip club, which was all designed upon like a really shitty doctor's surgery as the theme. And the women dressed up as nurses. I'll be honest, they did not look happy. It was definitely just a job. And we were in there, then we decided to leave, but the bosses didn't leave with us. We're like, where are they?
Having the greatest day of their lives.
And so the bouncer lets me back in to just to go find them. And yet they're back, and there's no private room. They're just on the back sofa, both getting lap dances, both looking absolutely miserable. The women giving the dances, bless them, also looking miserable. And I'm just like, right, okay. From afar, I'm like, have fun, boys, and leave. And they're like, where are they? Where are they coming? I'm like, I don't think they're coming. Well, maybe they're coming, but they're not coming out of the strip club. So we may as well just go on. And yeah, that's my one experience in a strip club.
Alex?
I'm very similar. I don't know why people always go to strip clubs as students. Like, for the first time. It's so weird. But there's one in Manchester that I went into, and I don't particularly like them anyway.
You went into a British one.
Yeah. I don't like the act of it. I hate playing chess. Like I love how it's depicted in the film where she's like, let's take you to the ATM. Let's do let's take you in the back. I was like, God.
Did you get a dance, Alex?
No, I had a particularly nice whiskey though, but I was like,
I've gone back into the same club every week for the whiskey.
Well,
the whiskey only.
Whenever I see it now, I'm like, oh, that was really nice. There it is. That's the place of the whiskey. I was like, I could just go in and ask what it was.
Should we get back to the film?
No, Chandler, I want to know about your strip club experiences.
Yeah,
your stories. You're not getting out of this.
Yeah.
I thought I was for a second.
Chandler likes a gamble in a strip club, I'm sure.
No, I do like a gamble. I've only ever been to one strip club, and again, it was just after I graduated uni. So again, students.
What is it with students who love going to strip clubs? Why would you go to a strip club when you've got no money?
Yeah, there's a point when they go to Vegas later on in the film. I'm like Vanya's type of money is what the type of money you need to really enjoy Vegas. Like you need the millions of dollars, not like the £100 that students have. But anyway,
you need to be a Russian oligarch.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, you need to. I don't know what age the horniness to money ratio meets to a point where you can actually enjoy a strip club.
Yeah.
I don't think Hugh Hefner ever found it.
Just very quickly, because I want to get back talking about the film. I was on holiday with my friends. We were in Portugal, we're in Lisbon, and The funniest thing is we'd had a really shit night. Like we tried to get into places where we kept going up, like a group of like 6 guys, and they were the bouncers kept saying, oh yeah, it's like 1,000 minimum euro spend or like 800 minimum euro spend, shit like that. And we were like, well, we don't have that kind of money. We went to like the strip, the like road of like really cheap bars, and we ended up having like a really, really shit night. And at the end of it, one of my mates goes, my mate who actually loves strip clubs, who shall remain nameless, he basically just goes, let's go to a strip club. And at that, I was 21. I'm on my first like boys holiday. It's what you do. Let's go. And literally, I was so drunk, and then as soon as I walked through the door, I sobered up immediately. It was like quite a harrowing experience looking back on it. and yeah, it was just a really weird night, and I've not been back in one since. I did not enjoy it. Because the idea of it, let's be honest here, the idea of a strip club is better in your head than in reality. No?
I was going to say, it just seems like a bit pointless. It seems like the hall of edging. You're not meant to have sex in them with the strippers. It's purely a dance, no touch, right? So
depends on the club. I love how this is a film podcast. Yeah, we've somehow managed to turn it into kinks and strippers. But very quick, I'm just going to sum up.
You're ultimately just going there to edge, right?
I'm summing up what James was trying to say. If you're in a relationship, you basically
there's your intro, by the way. There's your intro.
What?
You've just gone there to edge.
Like as I said 40 seconds ago, the idea of a strip club is better in your head than in reality, because in reality what you want is someone like your partner to do that, like do the dance, and then you can ultimately have sex with them straight away. Do you know what I mean? That's the actual thing you want.
I assume it's mostly single men. Going to strip clubs, or like...
You would like to hope so.
To be fair, there's a weird culture about it all in America, isn't there? Like, I don't think we have that here. I think you have that.
Americans are a lot more, like, not open about it, but they...
Like, married men going to, like, strip clubs.
Yeah.
Like, it's so
But that's
weird.
because it's so huge.
And expensive,
like,
apparently.
James travels to Bristol every time he goes to one.
All right, can we quickly get back on the podcast? We've been recording for a while now.
No, James had another point on strippers. Please, James, tell us about your strip club.
I regret asking this question now. We meet Annie, played by Mikey Madsen, who did win Best Actress for this film. And let's just talk about her performance for a little bit.
A lot of it.
I think she is absolutely fantastic.
She is glorious.
Knocks this completely out of the park. Like when we were talking about like the previous performances in the other movies we've done, so like Kieran Culkin's Michael, I was about to say Michael Cera and Jesse Eisenberg in A Real Pain, and then like Timothée Chalamet in A Complete Unknown and the others in A Complete Unknown. This one is, I genuinely think, leaps and bounds ahead of all of those. Like, she is utterly amazing from start to finish.
Yeah, she put a lot of work in, though. She did do research by learning the New York accent. She went to strip clubs, which she says was research. It wasn't.
She had a good time in those, unlike us three, apparently.
She went to multiple. They were like, "You're back again." She was like, "Research for the film. But can I have the same dancers and can one of you spit on me?" Yeah. Goz on me now.
I think the work she put in to be a believable pole dancer and stripper, we should discuss first before we talk about the meat and bones of the character.
She's just a piece of meat to you, isn't she?
Just get the gratuitous stuff out the way. As you say, she put in a lot of work. She visited strip clubs, but she also did hours and hours and hours of pole dancing and pole dancing fitness to be able to perform in the film. And she said it destroyed her body. And you have to forget, pole dancers are like athletes.
Yeah, they're performers.
Like the strength they have to have and the skill it takes is nuts.
Not to take anything away from that, but when you're watching pole fitness, the pole spins. Never knew that.
Just like it hurts.
I've never watched pole fitness. What the fuck? Why the fuck are you watching pole fitness?
That makes sense.
In research for this podcast.
Fuck off.
If they spin around the burns and stuff that they get on their skin, but then imagine if the pole didn't spin and they're trying to spin around it.
Exactly. But that's something
agony that would be.
That's something my mind has never like put two and two together of like, oh yeah, the pole spins.
Have you also seen firefighters when they're coming down? Their pole spins as well. Dirty bastards.
she commented, so you don't expect it to. She said it burned her skin at first. You don't expect it because these people dance. The way they dance is sensual and effortless, but you forget the athletic part of it. And I think they easily could have had a body double or a stunt performer essentially to replace her in these scenes, but she put the work in. And I think my big taking from the three films we've watched and how I think to define an Oscar-winning role, they're just totally believable. And these all felt like real life. I was never taken out of it. I believed who they were. I didn't think I was seeing an actor. I thought I was seeing Anora. I thought I was seeing Annie.
Well done, James. You understand the point of acting.
That is acting.
Well, no, yeah, but you know what I mean. So we meet. I'm not going to move. We'll come back to Mikey Madison, but we meet
Vanya.
Yuri Borisov, Vanya, in the strip club, who she ends up marrying.
Sorry, what was his name, James?
The actor Yuri Borisov.
Oh, right, okay, fine. No, Vanya.
Yuri Borisov is Igor.
You mean
Mark Edelstein.
Ah, okay, good. I'm glad about that.
You desperately tried to take us into supporting actors and fucked it up.
I thought he was the one that won the support, and I'm glad he didn't. Anyway, we meet Ivan Vanya, played by Mark Edelstein. Alex, thank you for that, how to pronounce it. And he wasn't nominated for Best Supporting Role. And I am quite glad about that, because he was just playing like a douchey Nepo baby in New York who wants to party all the time.
But here's the thing, right? His performance
he was less believable.
Bollocks.
Because the characterization was ultimately cliche. Not to say his performance was bad.
Is that what an oligarch's child is, though? That might just be what an oligarch's child is. There's not like it was the same in the last movie where you said that the agent was too over the top. That is just what the character is.
But they're too tropey.
So
for me to go, they should win an Oscar or something.
No, but hang on.
Tropey.
No, but hang on. But if you're saying it's too tropey, then your problem is more with the screenplay and the characterization than the performance. Because again, you could probably go the same and go Kieran Culkin's performance, even though as much as I enjoyed that in A Real Pain, you could say it like, well, his performance is just tropey of someone with bipolar and mental health issues.
No, that's the point. I didn't find it tropey. I found him super believable. Whereas I found, and it's a minor complaint because I also thought he played it very, very well. But I'm glad he wasn't the one nominated for Best Supporting Role, because I thought he was quite tropey, and I wasn't as absorbed by him as Yuri Borisov, who was the nominated for Best Supporting Actor, and Mikey Madison in the role of Anora.
I disagree. I actually think every performance from the supporting actors in this film could have been nominated. I genuinely think all the like Vanya, Toros, these are the character names. Garnick, Annie, and Igor. All four of them, I think, could be nominated for an Oscar. I genuinely think they like, and I think that's more of a testament to how good the direction is, and of Sean Baker winning Best Director, because all the performances are incredible, and I think all of them could have been nominated for an Oscar, really. And genuinely, here's a controversial opinion. I think if any of them had been, or if any of them had won, I think I'd be more happy with that than Kieran Culkin's in A Real Pain.
No.
There's my. I had controversial opinions in the past too. I had to have a controversial opinion in this one.
I get it from your perspective. Kieran Culkin should have got Best Actor.
Oh yeah, that was a good point. I did say that in A Real Pain. Yeah, fair.
Which I agree. Which I agreed with you then. I didn't think he was the supporting character. He might not have been. The film wasn't in his eyes, but he was totally the lead. I agree. And then yes, I would have been more than happy to have probably the Yuri Borisov mentioned as winning the supporting actor. James, I've been more than happy with that.
How long did you practice saying his name?
I didn't. I'm reading it now. I have no idea if my pronunciation's right. I wanted to theorize, as you mentioned, the henchmen. So we'll get on to why the henchmen are involved. But the three henchmen of Toros, Igor, which was the guy Best Supporting Actor, and who was the other one? Got his name?
Garnick.
And Garnick. I wanted there to be an Oscar for like Best Group Performance.
James is looking for the word ensemble.
Yes, because I loved their performance together. Is that a thing? Is that a thing at the Oscars? I wanted them three to win something together. I thought their performance was really, really good.
I think it's a thing at the Emmys, like in TV.
Best ensemble cast, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the thing at the Emmys.
Yeah, I think so.
Funny enough. Yeah.
It's mostly sitcoms win those, I think.
Mm.
And Grey's Anatomy obviously gets theirs every year. They're in their own separate thing. Best ensemble cast, Grey's Anatomy. The winner is, it's Grey's Anatomy. Well done, Grey's. Yeah, well done. Yeah. Did you like Diamond, the other, like the evil stripper? The one that like, was she believable, or did she take you? Was she too tropey because she was too much like a normal stripper?
I didn't necessarily see her as tropey at all. I just saw there as her performance. She happened to be another stripper at the venue, but she at headquarters. But like she was mostly just someone that Mikey Madison's character Annie they hated each other. Right. That was it. I didn't see her character as a stripper. I just saw it as another person at work who they just didn't get on and they disliked each other.
Like the three of us when we used to work together.
Yeah, exactly. On a slight note of her, she's played by Lindsay Norrington, who, I don't know if she was a stripper, but she did open up the only unionised strip club in the United States in Hollywood. That's a nice little fact for you. So she runs a strip club and she played a stripper very well. But if she's not tropey, what makes Mark Edelstein's character tropey compared to all of the other children of Russian oligarchs you've met?
I just saw him as another young rich kid going off the rails type thing. It's
How
the
many
same
of those
in a
have you
lot
met?
of films, and it's not met.
Yeah, how many of you met in real life?
How many have I met in real life? Not many.
But if you met them, you would just call them a trope and say they deserve nothing.
I like just going back, like let's talk about the performances. I think all the performances in this, as I said, are amazing. I don't think any of them are tropey. I think they're all believable.
You're mistaken. I don't mean tropey as bad. I think he was a tropey character, but it doesn't mean that his performance was bad. His performance was very good.
Yeah, so then why can't it be?
Tropey just means tropey is a stereotype, right? Tropey is something you see pigeonholed into lots of different films.
But again, that's probably what he was asked to play, and he did it very, very well.
But I've not said his performance was bad. I just have a problem with the tropey characterization. Could have maybe had a little bit more to it.
He wishes that Sean Baker had spent more time with Russian oligarchs' children.
Roman Abramovich.
Child.
No, but as I said, my opinion was that if he had been nominated, Mark Edelstein, if he had been nominated or if he had won, then it'd be worse than Kieran Culkin winning because their performances are tropey. But if that's what they were asked to play and they play it very well.
Again, I've said his performance was very good, but it's tropey, and I don't think it allows him to have the depth in acting that he may require to have been nominated for an Oscar. Whereas I don't think Kieran Culkin's performance was tropey at all.
By that same logic, next year, Snow White should clean up at the Oscars because all of those characters in it were not tropey. They weren't what anyone was expecting. They were just
shit.
Terrible. So it should clean up because it's not tropey. There's no trope in there.
We're staying too long on this conversation for something that's completely not that relevant.
Can I go back to Mikey Madison? We start off very well. She played a very strong, confident stripper at the start, took her clothes off, put them back on with dignity. However, the further on we get through the movie, did you not find her more and more annoying? Like the character more and more annoying? The bit where she has to deal with the henchman coming in the house, just keeps screaming. I was like, oh my God, I would have killed her by now. If this wasn't a comedy, they would have shot her in the face.
Well, how we got there? No. So this is the thing, right? So she meets Vanya. They start dating. Well, he's hiring her as an escort, essentially.
The girlfriend experience.
The girlfriend experience of which then they get married in Vegas. I don't know why you guys are laughing so much. That's exactly what
it's just the way he outed himself. It was like, the girlfriend experience. Yeah, I know it well.
How long have you and Charlotte been together?
5
He's been paying
years.
for years.
Chandler's been paying for it for years.
He owes Charlotte a small fortune.
Yes.
She's a saint for putting up with it, so it had to come with large funds of money.
My entire redundancy payment.
Anyway, they go to Vegas and they get married, and we've had their they've basically just been partying and shagging the whole time. We find out that he cannot last in he can't last in bed. Bless him. She's laughing at him, but she's having a good time. Like,
really enjoy the fact that he comes very quickly. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was a very good character trope. I don't know why. Because my first thing when like every time I was making my notes about Vanya, I just kept going, he's really immature. He's acting like a child. He's really immature. And then he's literally like, the first time they have sex, it's like she comes around, like he's ordered her to his house. And that experience seems so transactional. It's like, she just goes, what do you want? Sex. Yeah, of course. And then naked straight away. And I'm like, this is how, and I was remember thinking like, this is how like, probably this whole thing feels like how an adolescent would like think of losing their virginity. Like, do you know what I mean? It's so transactional. It's like horrible in a way to watch, but extremely comedic to watch at the same time.
I love that when she arrived, he gave her a hug, because that does play into what you said, Chandler. It's very much the way like an adolescent boy would just be like, "Oh, you're here. How are you?" And like he's like, the bedroom's upstairs. Let's go.
Yeah. It's
I thought there was going to be a twist or something that he was actually younger than he said. He said he was 21, she's 23. I thought he was going to end up being like 19, 18 in the end, when it just felt like the characters around him were alluding to it all the time. And I thought that was going to be one of the straws that broke the camel's back in their relationship, because like she seemed quite, by the time the girlfriend experience happened and they want to get married, I couldn't tell if she was still just doing it for money or if she liked him. And I really liked the subtlety of her performance.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah.
I agree, but I think there's a turning point in that when they're in Vegas and you see that when she's like, okay, no, I think I'm actually starting to like the kid. Is when they're having sex, and she just goes, and he's about to come, and she just goes, whoa, slow down. Let me show you how to actually like enjoy the experience instead of just rushing to the end. I think that's when, like in her head, she's like, no, I think I'm actually starting to like Vanya. And then obviously the next scene is him proposing, and her just going yes.
I mean, he is Russian, so he's always going to be Russian.
But no, as you were saying, like the whole leads up to like the scene of when the henchmen come in. But I think like it's basically to show you like that first half an hour of the film is like it's the honeymoon period in any relationship, isn't it? And then when they start talking about, oh yeah, when are we gonna meet each other's families? And it's like he's just avoiding the situation of how a teenager would avoid the subject he doesn't want to talk about. He just wants to play video games. Yeah. And again, like in an actual relationship, you have to work through those things of like uncomfortable situations and talk about it. And I think that's like, I think like you're supposed to interpret as the audience, like, right, that's the end of the honeymoon period. And then obviously 5 minutes later, the henchmen come in, which is like the visual representation of this is really the end of the honeymoon period.
Yeah, the parents like, this is done.
Yeah.
That he's not marrying her.
It's a beautiful sticking together of Act 1 is over. We're into Act 2 now. Shit's about to go down. When the people start arriving at the house and like, he's still behaving like the child of a Russian oligarch would, where he's like, you guys can't come into my house. This is my house. Get out of my house. When they're like, we've been sent by your father.
And we find out later, like, he's been sleeping in the parents' bed and like not his race car bed down the hall and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's mental. That is mental.
That's why there were so many things alluding to him being younger. But like, as I say, I started to genuinely believe that she liked him for more than the money.
She did.
Whereas in retrospect, looking back at the film, Vanya, like Mikey Madison embodied this role so well. Of the just the sex worker, the stripper, and how she was expected to act. Like, I feel weird saying it 'cause we're 3 dudes with a podcast, but extremely sexy performance. But that's what he fell in love with. He was infatuated by how sexy she was, not by her as a person or anything. He although they went out and they had a lot of fun, he paid for a lot and he showed off. I think she liked him, one, for the lifestyle, but I do think she started to like him as well. I don't think he ever really liked her for anything more than her sexuality, which ultimately was her job.
I think he definitely felt it like, we all know the jokes of like someone going to a strip club and going, the stripper actually liked me. And then everyone just going, no, mate, you're an idiot. Like that's her job. And I think that's what's happened to him. He fell in love with that idea of like, so because he's still, like you said, he's 21. He's a young kid. Like I say that at 29, like I'm fucking 50. But anyway,
there's a big difference between 29 and 21. After their honeymoon period, right, we meet the henchmen arrive, headed up by
Tauros.
I need to find those. Headed up by Tauros, but Tauros is like, I thought Tauros was like a priest.
I wrote that down as well.
but he was at a christening.
Yeah,
I thought it was the dad.
Yeah, I thought it was
but
dad
he's
originally.
at a christening, and he's sending Igor, who was Yuri Borisov, Best Supporting Actor nominee, and fucking hell, Garnick. So Garnick and Igor go to the house, and they are almost the Home Alone thieves.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. I like that.
And there's a really nice parallel. So they're breaking into the house, and Vanya runs away. He leaves
His wife.
Anora, he leaves Annie behind. He leaves his wife behind. Like, he's terrified of his parents. These are like his caregivers in the States that the dad pays for. Like, everything has to go through Taurus. That's his life. But he just sprints off out the house, leaves Annie behind. And then I think this is where I was convinced by her care for her. Yeah, exactly. And I think this is where I was convinced by her care for him and actually don't liking him, and because she does so much here to defend their marriage. She does not have to punch Igor in the face. She doesn't have to double kick Garnick in the nose and break his nose, which makes him seriously ill and concussed.
Brilliant moment.
She doesn't have to throw a candlestick at Igor. She is throwing hands to defend her situation and her marriage. Whether it's that early honeymoon infatuation and all of that, maybe she is there to be a quote unquote gold digger. I think there's so many layers here and nuance to her performance that you never truly believe what she wants. And even though I think she wants the lifestyle, it's these scenes where I'm like, wow, no, she actually cares for him, because her life wasn't bad. She was living with her sister in a nice house in New York. It was fine. She had a normal life.
You thought that was nice?
No, but she wasn't in derelict conditions. It was just a normal house that she shared with her young sister, and her sister's partner. It wasn't.
It's not the life you could have as the wife of a Russian oligarch.
So compare this to of course, but compare this to Pretty Woman, where she lives in a tiny apartment with a bed next door to her friends, where her job and her life is depicted as squalor, and then there's this altruistic man coming to save her. This is not like that. I mean, this subverts that. She has a job; it's a normal life. And she's given the opportunity for a better one. And instead of it being a handsome rich man, it's a douchey little Nepo baby Russian oligarch son. But she still fights for it. And that's why I think she cares about him.
But I also think that shows off the layers within the screenplay and the direction, because this scene happens around half an hour, 40 minutes into a 2.5 hour film. And honestly, as we were saying before, and I've said in A Complete Unknown, I don't really care how long a film is, as long as it keeps me gripped for the entire length. And I'll be honest, the first half an hour, 40 minutes I was losing interest a little, because I was like, this is just wish fulfillment.
Oh, really?
All this first half an hour, 40 minutes is seeing Vanya's wish fulfillment. He's met someone. He's met a very, very hot stripper. He's partied with her for weeks, and he's married her. That is an adolescent wish right there, really. And then I was like, what the hell is this film? How is this film going to win me over of why you deserve to be winning 5 Oscars? But this scene alone changed my entire opinion of the film. I was ready to check out, but this scene is so incredible. The tension ramps up so well and injects moments of comedy, like him getting double kicked in the face, of them arguing. It's why are you tying her up? And she was running away. What did you want me to do? And again, the performances of all of them are incredible. And this scene, is arguably one of the best scenes I've seen in a film in many years, to be honest. I think it is incredible, and it changes your entire opinion of the film. And then it just moves us forward so far into the story of them, fuck it, we need to find Vanya now. And you're going to go along with this. I think it's incredible.
Yeah, the parallel editing alongside Taurus, who's at the church and is he doesn't want to leave. He's got these guys to do the job for him on the phone, where he's I love the bit where he just says, I can't remember what's happening, but he just goes, no! And the priest is
did you hear him say, are you killing her?
Yeah.
And they weren't killing her, they were tying her up because she was lumping them.
Yeah.
I think this again, as I said, this scene, I think this scene alone, if you'd had this scene as a short film, it would be the best short film ever made.
It'd be good. It'd be really good.
This scene, I think alone, if someone goes, why the fuck did Anora win best film, best director, best screenplay, best actress? You show this 10-minute scene and you're like, yeah, fair. There's no arguments.
Just wanted to touch back on some of her performance during the honeymoon period, how awkward she seemed. You could tell for the part, really subtle, that in all moments her face when he offers the bong to his maid who's cleaning. There is a lot of subtlety there. Whereas contrast to this scene where she is going for it. There's a lot of levels to her performance. And then, she
goes back into street mode.
Yeah, she went like, I need to fight here. Because, fair enough, her job's her job at the strip club. But, like, they are hotbeds of maybe illegal behaviour and bad things can happen. You need to be able to, hold your own. And she doesn't half hold her own here.
But I also think there's a great bit of subtlety. So after they've like tied her up and gagged her because she started shouting rape after they stole her engagement ring.
Yeah.
There's a great bit of subtlety. Like Toros and Garnet go outside and discuss what's going to happen. They come back in and they go, right, here's what's going to happen. We're going to find Vanya. We're going to get this marriage annulled and we're going to pay you a green card marriage fee of 10K. Right? And it's like, I'm going to take your gag off and you're not going to scream and you're going to agree to this. There's a great, they take the, I don't know if the shot is, they take the gag out and it's an extreme close up of just her eyes, of like just her eyes. And you can see, again, it's testament to her performance of, you can see her eyes just moving and like you can see the brainwave
thinking about it.
Yeah, Anora or Annie thinking about what she needs to say and what she needs to do to like, survive and find Vanya. And then it goes down to her mouth to just say like something along the lines of, I need to talk to Ivan first. And that one shot, that whole like one shot down and up on her eyes and mouth is incredible.
There's a real nice dichotomy and between the henchman and Anora, Annie here, because they are also, like her at the start of the film, just doing her job and depicting sex work as just their job. They are reluctantly, they're just trying to do their job. They don't want to kill her. In most films, you'd expect them to have pulled a gun by now, threatened to kill her, actually tied her up because they want to, not tied. They didn't want to tie her up. They did it because she was beating the shit out of them and winning. And they were like, no. So he tied, and they're like, why did you tie her up? It's like, she punched me in the face. She's like, you can't handle a little girl. It's like, well, I don't want to. He's not going to hurt her. Like, they don't want to hurt her. They're just disgruntled employees. All of them. They're just, and I think you get from here on when they're searching for Vanya, you kind of get this weird respect between them because Igor, the guy it's his first job by the seams of it, and he's just there to kind of be muscle and a bit of intimidation. And he's really nice. He's trying to be polite the whole time while she's punching him in the face. Then Garnet's there screaming like, sort it out. Taurus is coming. We need to sort this out. They don't want to look bad in front of their boss. And then Taurus comes and he's like, why have you done all this? Why have you done this? And it's like, why? It's like you've shown your boss a presentation. He's like, well, that's not very good, is it? Well, that's good. That's not good. What are you playing at? You can do better than this.
And I also think it's because, like, you say it's just their job, and I think you see that when they go looking for Vanya, and like they go to like some of his friends first, like in that toy shop, that sweet shop,
yeah,
and he literally just Igor like straight away takes the bat away, just smashes shit up, like straight away, like he knows that's his job.
Break the shop, yeah.
I think you can tell that way of like, as you say, this film is maybe showing you like dichotomy of just doing your job.
But that's in that candy shop scene when they start smashing shit up. Annie is not in her like, oh God, don't do this to these people. She is like, where the fuck is he?
Yeah.
She's like, smash more stuff up. Even though we've seen that this shop does not belong to them, they are working there for the old man Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, when he came out, the old man, and saw the shop destroyed, that was funny.
I think again, like on this whole trip, like this whole like searching for Vanya, I think there was great comedic moments. Like when Garnet's like, I need to go to a hostel. Like I think I have a concussion, and then 5 minutes later he throws up because he has a fucking concussion. Like just that moment in the scene of him just like. Bleh.
I was eating my lunch during that, and I was like, oh God. But it was so much.
Like I think like as you said, we've touched on it enough, but I think. Just if we move on to like just maybe concentrating on like the fact that this did win Best Picture, Best Direction, Best Screenplay, this whole story, like I did say later, the first half an hour you can be lost a little bit, but as soon as you get to this bit and then searching for Vanya, you're like, this is incredible. This is actually genuinely a story worth telling, directed brilliantly, and no wonder it won Best Picture as well.
Absolutely. I don't think it's just like the search for Vanya that makes it. I didn't have the same first half an hour as you. I wasn't losing interest at all. I do think this film gripped me at all times, and as I said at the start, I had to kind of shift my expectations for this to be an emotional thing to a comedy, because I have an expectation of what wins an Oscar, and normally it's emotional dramas, not something like this. But yeah, the search of van, you mentioned there's little moments of comedy, and and back on it just being their job, and Annie's like, don't park there, like you get a ticket. Why are you leaving your car there? Or let's go back and get the car. But he's just like, nah, it's fine. He leaves his car somewhere, and they come back to it. It's getting towed, and he just gets in the car and he reverses, breaks the bumper of his car, his wife's car that's been thrown up in, and he's like, damn, I need to clean this up before my wife uses it tomorrow. But it stinks in the car. They park outside the strip club, and he's like, tells Garnick, don't get a ticket. Garnick leaves the car, they get a ticket, and there's just these little moments throughout their big job of trying to find Vanya to get this marriage annulled because his parents are scary Russian oligarch psychopaths, that the henchmen are just like so disgruntled, and she's like getting tired of it as well and want to find him. Really, really good scene. And yeah, to be honest, I hadn't had a low point in the movie at this point. It started off shocking because I did not know there'd be that much nudity. Then it just got really funny as soon as the henchmen were involved.
But it also won best film editing as well. And there's a shot later in the film that we'll probably touch on near the end that is left long, just so you can sit in the moment. You sort of get a hint of that, very small hint of that in the throwing up scene. But backpedaling from the fight scene, which is quite fast editing, where she's breaking a lamp, they're falling all over the place. You sit on that shot for a while where what's his name? Where Igor is holding her, and she's like, this is what gets you off, isn't it, you sick bastard? And he's like, nope, just holding you to stop you punching everyone in the face.
Oh yeah, because they're basically in doggy style position at that point, and it does look awkward. But he's just like, I don't know what to do. He looks like, I'm tired. I don't want to stop hitting me. Because Igor's genuinely tried to be nice, but it is a bit Stockholm syndrome-y at times. But he's just tried to be nice.
It's where you as the audience can just sit in with it, though.
Yeah, going on that, Alex, like the moments people sit in. I think, and I actually normally get annoyed at films for just sticking on shots that don't need to be that long. But in this film, I really enjoyed it because there are, like, I think it happens throughout the movie. Like the scenes when they go and have dinner and Toros is showing pictures of Vanya to like just randomers, just going, have you seen him? Have you seen him? Have you seen him? And he goes on a rant about the younger generation on TikTok and Instagram, which I did enjoy. And obviously we find out, like, I did find this bit predictable. I did see this coming when they're like, Vanya's at the strip club. Let's go back to the strip club.
Yeah.
That was kind of predictable. But that scene at the strip club again, like, no wonder it makes you sit in the moment when they're having the fight at the end, trying to get Vanya out, and Annie is having the fight with Diamond and punching her back and like, get the fuck off my man and all that.
Because Diamond's just tried to sleep with him because she hates Annie. Yeah, right? She's just giving him a lap dance and he's
so wasted.
It's at this point when
he's
I was
so drunk.
Yeah. He's so fucked. And it's at this point where I'm like, yeah, Vanya's really only cares about himself. He's a massive narcissist. Even though he's drunk, he just doesn't care about her.
Yeah. That's when
which we know from when he ran away.
Well, I
think
was
that's when
holding
she
out
realizes
hope.
it as well. She starts to realize it as well.
I was holding out hope that he ran away because his parents are genuinely really, really, really fucking scary oligarchs and they're going to kill someone, which they probably will be. But I was kind of in my head, I was like, I hope this somehow ends up with them together.
Yeah, same.
But then at that moment when he's fucking drunk at the strip club, I'm like, okay, no, he's just a cunt. He is just, as James has said about 10 times, he is just a Nepo baby.
That is where she arrives, though, at that first stop on the... I don't think the oligarch actually likes me on that tour. She properly comes into it when she speaks to him the next morning after they've slept outside the courthouse. And she's like, desperate to speak to him. She's like, they're trying to get this annulled. Are you going to do something? And he's like, I would like vodka.
He's like, he's not going to do anything. And I think her panic, she's tired, but also you can see that it's falling apart for her.
Yeah, 100%.
At this point, she's been so angry. You mentioned sitting in shots earlier, and you mentioned the when they gagged her. Sorry, we've talked about silence a lot in this podcast. We love a little bit of well-placed silence in a film. We've all kind of agreed on. She's screaming so much in that scene at them, and then they've gagged her, and then there's honestly just silence for ages until a call outside, and they go to this kind of wide shot of her like gagged on the sofa with the scarf in her mouth, and Igor's just sat with her, and Toros has got outside, or Arnick's gone outside for the phone call. I think it's the dad's phone, they leave a silence, and I'm there. I found it hilarious. I thought it was quite a comical one because it's like, oh yeah, in the last 5 minutes, all we've heard is screaming.
But going on to the film editing, like we're swapping back to like the scene when they're back at the stripper club and they're having the fight. There's a great like the music of I really enjoyed all the things you said by Tattoo playing, but then they drop the music really low. No, sorry. They drop the voices really low and keep the music really high during the fight scene. Because in a club, that's all you could fucking hear is just the music. And I think that's really smartly done of like, okay, we can't hear them anymore. They're just fighting. And I know it sounds stupid, but it just seemed so much more powerful when you're watching that fight scene.
I was so happy she freaking punched Diamond.
Violence to get women is James's motto.
There was times when she slapped Igor, I was like, yes. When she kicked Ardick in the face, I was like, yes. And when she punched Diamond, I was like, yes.
Can you, at the end of what you just said, can you just have James going, I said yes.
They've just found out they can't annul the marriage in New York because they got married in Nevada. Then they're all pissed off that he went to Vegas without permission as well, which is quite funny.
The one thing I learned about in this film, why do they not have just place a tracker on his phone or something? I just know where he is the whole time.
Because they're oligarchs. They're good people.
I enjoyed this. Going back to Mikey Madison's performance in this scene when the mum arrives.
Oh, yeah.
Again, the performances of the mum and dad I thought were brilliant. Like she's really over the top and he's just so done with it. He's just so like, my son's a fuck up. What have I done? Who gives a shit about him? I really enjoyed that father's performance. But anyway, and Annie, it's the first time Annie ever introduces herself as Anora instead of Annie.
And
it's to Vanya's mum because she's like, no, I actually want to. I think at this point she knows she's fucked. She knows this ain't going forward, but I think she's still, Hail Marying.
She goes for the nuclear option. She's like, maybe mum will love me.
Yes, because that's what all mums want their son to bring home. I mean, if it's Mikey Madison, who cares?
So are you just saying that you'd be your family wouldn't accept if you brought home a stripper as your partner? Are you being rude about sex work, Chandler?
Even with friends and family discount?
I'm not. I think my parents would be.
Older generations, yeah.
They'd be like, can I take your coat? And your top,
not,
and your trousers, and your pants. Why are you taking your pants off?
No, they at least they wouldn't have to say, can I take your hat, your coat, and your swastika?
And maybe they would, and that's why they'd be annoyed. It wouldn't be the fact she's a stripper. She just keeps taking all of her swastikas off.
Go back and listen to the producers, everyone.
When I loved the scene when she met the mum and speaking Russian and called herself Anora, because I think it alludes to the fact that she does not like to be called Anora, really. She always says her name's Annie, call her Annie. So we don't know much about her past. We know that she grew up in Brighton, Brooklyn, a Russian neighborhood. Her grandma didn't learn English, that's why she knows Russian. But she seems to not want to draw. It's not a sense of, she's not proud of her Russian heritage, but it's not even a sense of she just lives with it. She seems to want to erase it in a way.
Yeah, you see that in the scene where she first meets Vanya, where she's like, I will listen to you and I can speak to you, but I won't speak to you in Russian. I'll listen to you, understand, and we'll speak in English.
She does it at points in her, like when they get married, she starts to speak Russian and she's like, okay, I'm going to speak Russian. And she kind of accepts it a bit. And yeah, she's trying to win the mum over, but the mum's like, you're embarrassing. Your Russian's embarrassing. I don't care. They only ever see her, they see her in the more, unfortunately, the way society does a lot of the time, they just see her as a prostitute. They just see her as an object and a disgrace. And the mum will not accept that, even if she is Russian, even if she's going to speak it.
And I actually quite enjoy that every time that she hears someone refer to her as a prostitute or a whore or anything like that, she immediately just goes, what the fuck? Like she stands up for herself. And I enjoyed when Vanya gets on the plane, he tells her, of course we're going to get it annulled. And she just goes, right, I'm getting a lawyer. Like if this is over, I'm gonna do it on my terms. And then ultimately she tries to stand up for herself. And the mum just goes, I will fucking kill you and your family, is essentially what she's saying.
Yay, that was when I was most happy in the movie. I was like, Russians have turned up.
Right, she says destroy, she means murder.
Well, she said, I'll ruin the lives of everyone. If you, your family, your friends, everyone around you. She doesn't necessarily say kill. I think she means I'll make your life a living hell and maybe someone will die. But it's the one genuinely
she means Toros, Garnick, and Igor are going to kill some people.
It was the one genuinely like scary part of the film, and then she does ultimately. She's like, yeah, I can't win with the lawyer I can get, and they go to Vegas. They fly to Vegas in the jet. She gets the jet turned around in 10 minutes to get to Vegas, and they go. And the scene with the annulment lawyer in Vegas was so good. I thought it was so good, and she's still sticking up for herself, even though she couldn't win ultimately in this situation. It's all falling apart. But the dad in the background just laughing when she starts calling the mum a bitch.
That was the scariest part of the film. That was the scariest part because I was if you're laughing, this is just not going to go well for anyone involved here, is it?
But I think it's because, as I said, the father is just so fed up with his own son and how he acts. Because like
I think he's fed up with his wife as well.
She's like, she spills out on a plate for her. She's like, you have driven your son so far away from you that just to piss you off, he's going to go and marry a stripper to embarrass you. Like, that's how much your son hates you. And she spells it out on a plate. And the dad just goes, yeah. That's really funny. Himself. The dad's laughing. I love that. That guy deserved a fucking Oscar. Because that laugh is even parts maniacal and even parts hysterics.
But I just think the dad agreed with her.
Yeah.
Like when she was slagging off his wife, I think he agreed. When he's slagging off Ivan, he agreed. Igor was so sweet saying, I think Ivan or Vanya owes Annie an apology, which he totally does because he's used her completely and thrown her away like he thinks he can do. But the mum whispers to him in Russian, you will not say sorry to anyone.
It wasn't sweet. It wasn't sweet at all. If this was a proper move, this is where I was taken right out of it. Because these are two oligarchs, and I was like, if this was a proper movie, he would have just been shot in the head, left in the lawyer's office, and they would have gone, you'll clean him up for us.
Yeah, that's why I think this was a bit more realistic.
No, it isn't.
Normally depicted by Russian gangsters.
From all of the Russian oligarchs I have met, mate, the amount of henchmen I have seen just get gunned down in front of me is you couldn't count on one hand.
See, but here's the thing. I think I've seen so many films. I was like, okay, that's where the film ends. Like they put Igor and Annie in the car, and Toros goes, he's going to fly you back, and you're going to get your money. And I thought literally all you're going to see is her getting the money and fucking off and carrying on with her life. However, I was pleasantly surprised to see how they react with each other after this massive ordeal. Like she obviously has a shower. They watch TV and they have like a bit of a joke when they're getting. I assume they're getting high. I assume they're smoking weed.
I don't know, drinking or smoking.
They're definitely having vodka.
They're back at the Vanya house that they have to leave in the morning.
I really enjoyed this sequence. I thought it was really good.
Just sitting with the apartment scene, you sit with them. Like there's that whole thing of where she's like, why didn't you rape me or anything? And like that's a loaded question anyway. But he's just like, I'm not like that. That's not me. That's not me. I used the right amount of restraint against you because you broke my friend's nose. You smashed up my boss's house. And he was like, I had to stop you. You bit my jugular and I had to stop you from fucking screaming. And the best way to do that was to just hold you with a telephone cable.
And when she asked him that, I felt the movie subverted expectations quite a lot because I thought he was very polite, very nice. And in a regular Russian gangster film, the nice guy sucks in the lead and then later on pounces them and rapes them. And then when they don't accept their advances, that's often how movies go. But he doesn't because they're just showing here. These are just regular people. They're just regular people. Like Igor's just a regular guy. It was his 30th birthday the day before, bless him, and he's had to go to work where his title happens to be henchman.
Has to go to work.
Your language around the fucking Russian henchman is unbelievable. You were like, you're so sweet, and then you were like, bless him, his birthday was yesterday. No one even got him a cake.
At no point during the house invasion scene did no one go, happy birthday to you. Or probably in Russian, Do svidaniya, da da.
He says he prefers the name Anora over Annie, and she's like, I don't care. And he says he's not that type of person to rape her. And I was like, yeah, he does. Like,
he just wants to celebrate his birthday.
Yeah, and he said like his, and then there, as you were jumping on to earlier, Chandler, they drive her back to her house the next day in the morning. She's like, oh, he's like, do you like my car or something? And it's she's like, no, I hate it actually. And he's like, this is my grandma's car. And I think she felt kind of bad in that situation because, you know, they're kind of, I feel like they're flirting a little bit, having a laugh at that point. But it's her grandma in America. That is why she speaks Russian. And I think they come from a similar background and, you know, where they can end up. He's a henchman. She became a stripper. Kind of, you know, down on their luck kind of roles in society is what you would normally be portrayed as. But I don't think the film portrays them that way.
And then as he releases the engagement ring off to her, it's like handing the golden slipper. The golden slipper, the silver slipper.
Yeah. I love that he saved the wedding ring.
I also think going back to like the car. I'm moving past my Cinderella joke. I think him saying like it's my grandma's car and he's happy it's grandma's car, and then it alludes like back to Annie being like, okay, it's my grandmother speaking Russian. I think it's supposed to say something along the lines of it's okay to be okay with where you come from, because as you said before, James, like she doesn't like to be called Anora because it like alludes to her being Russian and all this, and she doesn't like to speak Russian because I think it's more fact that
we're never told anything explicitly, are we? It's very much
no, of course. I think you're supposed to infer.
Maybe.
And it's like I think that's what you're maybe supposed to infer is like it's okay to be it's okay to wherever you've come from. It's okay to be that essentially as long as you're trying to be the best person you can. And yeah, just the scene of them sat in the car with, and I think I like the juxtaposition because you know she of her own free will goes and sits on his lap and then holds her. But again, of like a caring moment of holding instead of I'm going to keep you here, and she starts to cry. I think it's so poignant. It ends the film really well, and again, great use of silence over the credits.
Yes. No, I love the silence over the credits. I wouldn't have. Yeah, the way that we sort of sit with them from the whole start of that. There's the shot where she gets out of the car. To go, she's going to put the ring back through the letterbox, isn't she, or something? She's going to do something with the ring, and you just see the close-up shot of her face before she gets at the truck, and she like, there's that look of I don't know, like safety, where she's with him, and then obviously she gets back in, climbs aboard, probably the best way we can put it.
Mounts.
Mounts is an awful way.
And that's where we get the fairy tale of the stripper and the henchman, as James put it.
I think there's a huge amount to unpack in this scene. Over the last hour, her entire profession and life choices have been demonized by the parents and by Taurus, by Garnick, and they've beaten her down. For at the start of the film, where it's something that she's just her work, she takes pride in it, she does it well, it's nothing less, it's nothing more. They've beaten her down to the societal expectation of what people think of sex workers. And I felt like the only way she could say thank you in a weird way to Igor was to do what she does, and that is to have sex with him. And there is a lot of silence in this scene. It does lean on it. The scene goes on for an uncomfortable amount of time because she does start to have sex with him in the car, but it's awkward. It's not happy. The film's not ending happy. It's quite sad. It's quite gut wrenching, and it goes on for a while, and it lingers with it, and then she starts to cry, and he just holds her, and it's kind of the character he's been through the entire film. Even when she starts having sex with him, he kind of doesn't really move. He doesn't really partake. He's been called a rapist less than 12 hours before, you know, and he's tried to kind of care for her within his means the whole film. She doesn't know how to say thank you. She's just performing what she's been told all she is the entire film. And it's quite sad that that's the conclusion.
Yeah, this isn't a happy film. This isn't Cinderella walking away with her Prince Charming.
But on a broader context of sex work and society, and the way it's viewed in society, it's a commentary of it. Like, she's ultimately been beaten down to perform all she's considered good for.
I think we should just be very clear that when strippers are told, say thank you to the nice man, they don't instantly just start banging the nice man. Say thank you. Whoa! Not like that.
But again, it's that build-up of a film and expectation, right? In another film, you might expect it to be like, oh, they'll live happily ever after with Igor, who's more akin to her life. And, you know, they've had similar maybe upbringings and beginnings. But it's not happy. Life doesn't work that way. She's just been beaten down by people the entire film. She married a guy. He's dumped her off in the dirt. The parents have just been, well, mostly the mother, have just been absolutely awful to her. And then there's this guy who's kind of been polite and nice to her through the entire film and shown her respect, the best respect he can in his position. And then you go, then they make love and they live happily ever after. No, her time has been horrible. And I think Mikey Madison delivers the pain really, really well.
And I think, I agree with that. And I also think the screenplay, the direction are both set up to show you that and prove why it won all those awards.
Right, as James Mr. Weepy would say, we've come to the end. We've reached the end of the movie. It's time for the 3 takes. Roll the 3 takes music. Now you have to put it in.
Takes.
Chandler, you have been picked first by our big wheel of 3 takes.
So overall on this film, I had actually very, very high expectations for this film. Obviously knowing that it had won 5 Oscars, including picture, screenplay, direction, whatever. So I think that's why, as I've said previously, that the first sort of half an hour, I was like, I think this is a bit slow. Like, have I still really got 2 hours left to watch? However, as soon as you get to the main house invasion scene, I think that's where my opinion of the film completely changed. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, no wonder it won those 5 Oscars: film editing, actress, screenplay, direction, and best picture, because this film is incredible. It is genuinely leaps and bounds better than A Complete Unknown. As I said, I didn't really like that one. I think it is a better film than A Real Pain, even though I obviously enjoyed A Real Pain as well. But yeah, like, as James has alluded to, this film subverts your expectations at multiple times. It gives us great comedic moments in times when you need it. The performances are incredible, not just through the 2 people who got nominated, but the whole ensemble cast, as I've said many, many times. I actually couldn't recommend this film any more than I can, because I think it's actually incredible watching, for more than just Mikey Madison being sexy as fuck for the first 20 minutes. As James said, softcore porn right at the start. Yeah, this film's incredible. Just go watch it. I actually can't say any more superlatives than what I have, and my take is very quick on this. Like, yeah, it's fucking amazing. Just go enjoy it for 2.5 hours. It's so good. Yeah, Sean Baker, who wrote, directed, produced this film along with his wife Samantha Kwan, and edited this film. Like, that is a real labour of love, and he deserved all the plaudits on this, because I think it's a fantastic film. And yeah, can't recommend it anymore, so go watch it. Alex, what's yours take of Stupidity?
I wish I hadn't checked what Oscars it won beforehand.
I wish I was a son of a Russian oligarch.
I also wish I was the son of a Russian oligarch. If there are any Russian oligarchs out there with an opening for a son, I would be more than happy to come down and audition. I have shot many servants in my time. James, I always treat poorly. I thought the acting by Mikey Madison was well deserving of her Oscar for Best Actress in a Lead Role. Her portrayal of a confident, streetwise, I don't really want to say streetwise, but, you know, headstrong, that's what I want to say, of a headstrong sex worker. That's not a joke, even though it should be. It's a very good joke. I will let other people make that joke. Sex throughout is brilliant. And the way her character almost flows with the script and transitions throughout the movie from being this, she's just a stripper at the start, she's just after those dollar bills, sliding into a G-string like we all are, to she's now the wife of, she's potentially a future heiress to a Russian fortune. And the second that she gets her little mittens on that, not even a telephone cable is going to stop her getting to it. Unfortunately, the oligarchs do. And her sort of sliding from headstrong sex worker, now I will settle into the role of oligarchy wife, back into being a headstrong sex worker at the end when she's like, these people are swindling me. These Russian oligarchs are terrible people. Obviously, they're not. I look forward to any of your emails, Mr. Ovizanovs. Is fantastic. And as Chandler said, Sean Baker, he did a fantastic job editing, writing, directing, shooting, producing, running the electricity cables, catering.
Was he Jackie Chan now?
What else did they do on film sets?
Act.
Sound, record. Oh, he acted as well. He actually played Mikey Madison's character. They just superimposed her face on top of him. He did a brilliant job. Yeah, he did a brilliant job of putting all of that together. And I had a look at what he's done before. I've never seen anything he's done before, but they all sort of run in a similar vein of they're all black comedy dramas, essentially. And this probably is the culmination of him working towards writing his masterpiece. This is his launch pad, I guess, which sounds strange to say when he's already written, directed, edited, made pancakes on about 8 different films. But this one, to clean up at the Oscars, clearly shows you the quality it has.
I think this probably is his masterpiece. Like, it's hard to see how much a better film could be.
I would like to say that he's like 42 years old. He's probably going to do...
He's so old.
Oh, he's 54. He's 54. He's probably going to do more.
James, what's yours take?
So yeah, I want to start. This movie had a this movie had a $6 million budget, which was one of the lowest, but it had a $18 million marketing budget, and that's garnered a lot of hate. I think people were putting the film down for that, saying, "Oh, it just paid to win an Oscar." It's all of the movies that were nominated for Best Picture or whatever, all spent a shit ton of money on their marketing. The Brutalist is the other movie that swept up at the Oscars that spent a similar amount on it. And The Complete Unknown, which was a much higher budget film compared to these, spent a lot of money on its Oscar marketing budget. So I think it's an irrelevant point, and I think people aren't giving the movie a chance because of that when they absolutely should. It made $40 million in revenue, clearly did very well. It's got streaming deals. You know, you could rent it right now, but, you know, it's coming out. And I really want people to watch it because I think it's really, really, really good. And it's a testament as well to indie studios. And this was by a studio called Neon. Brutalist was by A24, who's had a lot of fame with other works in recent years. It's a testament to these indie studios doing these more grounded, real productions, that they're producing quality cinema. This is quality cinema. Sean Baker with Best Screenplay, Best Picture, Best Director, I feel absolutely deserved. I thought it was excellent. Mikey Madison was the be-all, end-all for me with this film. Her performance is exceptional and absolutely deserving of Best Actress. The nuance to her character, she's playing this is a real example of a sex worker in modern day. You find drama in real life. You don't need to find drama in the oligarchs should be carrying guns and be gangster henchmen and gunning people down. She doesn't need to be homeless or living in squalor. She can just have her job and live in a regular house where her sister wants her to go buy the milk. You know, this isn't Pretty Woman. It's like Pretty Woman. There's no altruistic man trying to save her. She doesn't need saving. The nuance in her performance from, you know, just doing her job, confident woman, living her life, gets wrapped up in this whirlwind of a man, this Nepo baby, oligarch son, trying to decipher as an audience whether she loves him. Because it's clearly at the start, it's just a job, right? For her, him hiring her to be an escort, the girlfriend experience, whatever, just a job. But it seems like, and I felt, the nuance of her finding his life weird and not enjoying it to then maybe liking him wholeheartedly, whereas he's only, as the boy said, used her to fulfill his desires as an object of desire, is incredible. And the final scene hit home for me of her being beaten down through an entire film, having to how she feels like she needs to be a sex worker and that's the only way she should be, as that's how people have told her to be, and then crying in who I also thought was excellent in a really subtle role, Borisov at Igor's arms, was an absolutely gut-wrenching scene. Her journey throughout this movie is sorrowful, but surrounded by parts of comedy. And it's really funny, but you should never take away from the tragedy of the film. Deserved it, absolutely. Great film. Please watch it. I hope to see Mikey Madison have a successful career. She's about, I think she's like 25, got a big career ahead of her. She got this for a small role in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's where Sean Baker saw her, and that's what led her to get this role. Yeah, really, really, really brilliant. And it just shows that, you know, it shines a light in the public eye, the suffering that sex workers and the vitriol they have to receive when, you know, it's a respected profession. And unfortunately, the people that ultimately use sex workers to their benefit are often the ones that demonize them at the same time. And it's not really acceptable. So, yeah, go watch this film. Go watch an incredible performance.
Before we go, standard at the end of our trilogies, the podium places are up for grabs. So we're going to start with, we spun the wheel. Oh, it came up with me. Let's spin it again. James. We're starting with James.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. I'm actually quite stuck on this because I liked all three of the films, and in terms of performances by character, I mean, Timothée Chalamet in A Complete Unknown, Kieran Culkin in A Real Pain, and Mikey Madison in this, brilliant. All three really, really excellent roles. All of them could have won awards. Two of them did. I said Chalamet at the time could have easily won an award. However, A Complete Unknown is my number 3. Wasn't my favourite. Dragged on a bit too long. This is where it gets hard. I love The Real Pain. I thought it was really, really, really good. And it might be recency bias, but I'm going to put Anora number 1 and A Real Pain number 2. I think. But honestly, not a stinker in it. Like them all. You should watch them all. But there's only 2 of them I'd watch more than once, which is this and A Real Pain. I wouldn't watch A Complete Unknown again.
James is wrong because he said there's no stinker in here, and he's wrong because A Complete Unknown is a real stinker, and that's why it is in 3rd.
Fair enough.
Alex
is fuming.
And again, yeah, I'm same as James. A Real Pain and Anora are quite close for me. I enjoyed them both, but A Real Pain is 2nd and Anora is 1st. Like, I'd flock back to watch Anora more than A Real Pain, to be honest. So yeah, I'm the same as James in the ordering.
Not just because you're a horny bastard.
I just watched the first 20 minutes on repeat.
I really want to hurt you both because I want there to be one step. Considering we've just done a Russian film, we should be very communist about this. Everyone's equal. But I think that Complete Unknown would have to stand on the 3rd step. It wasn't as good as the other 2, but still a very good film in its own right. We all enjoyed it. And then, because I hate seeing my boy, I'm meant to look up to something. I'm putting Anora 2nd, and I'm going A Real Pain. I'm putting the Culks and the Eisenbergs on the top step.
Get out your Culk chair.
Get out your Culk chair and go watch A Real Pain.
I thought we were very close to all agreeing on the ordering.
I thought we were going to all agree
once as well.
I know, but I couldn't allow it. I couldn't allow my boy to be sat staring up at strippers.
That's where anyone would want to be.
Not the Culks.
I'm surprised. I thought we were going to all agree. I'm wondering now, Alex, you're just doing that for dramatic effect.
Here to our 30 people.
Right then, our clothes are off, the 20s are in our panties, and our Spotify playlists have been rejected. This is the end of the Oscars 2025 trilogy. The music's coming in to play us off. We've gone on for too long. James has mentioned Yuri Borisov for too long. Join us next time for the Murder Mystery series. Which one of us is going to be killed? We don't know. It's Chandler. We're going to kill Chandler. We don't know what we're starting with, so we'll surprise you with that one. We don't even know the films. It's goodbye from James.
See ya.
It's goodbye from Chandler.
Do svidania.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye. Now remember, the heroes of this story are the strippers. They put on their trousers one leg at a time, same as the rest of us. And then they take them off again. Then they put them on again. Then they take them off again. Then they put them on again.
Don't forget to rate, review, and share the podcast. It really helps us grow. Follow us on all our socials, plus our individual Letterboxd accounts. The links can be found in the description at www.hop with 2 P's, .bio/3 takes, or search for 3 Takes of Stupidity on most platforms. Please send us your film and series suggestions on our hot page or to 3takesofstupidity@gmail.com. Thank you and hope to see you soon.